3, 2, 1.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Before we start our presentation, I will introduce our group members. Okay, so we have Nur Anis Aqilah binti SUHAIMI, Nur UMMAIRAH binti Muhammad RAFEE, Nurul binti ROMLI, Nik Nur MADIHAH binti HASSAN, Nik HANNANI binti ABDUL AZIZ, and Siti Nazifah Anisa binti NASIR.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Nur Anis Aqilah binti SUHAIMI and my matrix number is H2OP1465. Well, here I will explain a little bit of information related to the report assignment that has been given to my group, which is group 5. And we will start with the objective of the report first. This is the objective that I have listed in order because it has two parts, namely part A and part B. For part A, first, construct two appropriate tables that can be used to describe the data. Second, find and explain the value that is measures of central tendency, measures of variation, and measures of position. Hence, determine the shape of data distribution. Third, develop a suitable graphical method to represent the data using graph paper or Excel, at least 2 graphs. And for part B is, first, find one set of data that have one independent variable and one dependent variable. Second, if the data set consists on n is bigger than 100, then you may select at random, that is n not greater than 100, but n must be at least 30. For example, n equal to 35. 3. Compute the Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient, then explain the value obtained, that is calculate manually. 4. Develop the estimate regression equation, then interpret the regression equation, that is calculate manually. We move on to the next slide. Okay, so this is the data description and our group has made a computational study based on this data. This data was obtained from the current price of bungalows for a given size in Kuala Krai, Kelantan. Alright, next. I will explain my part in this report, which is part A, data arrangement. This data can use 3 types of tables, which are frequency distribution, relative frequency distribution, and cumulative frequency distribution. And what you see now is the frequency distribution. To solve this part of the frequency distribution, I have listed several sets to solve. It takes 5 steps for this part. The first step is the number of classes. That is a useful recipe to determine the number of classes, that is small k, is the 2 to the rule, such that 2 to the power of k is bigger than n. There were 50 current price of bungalows for a given size, so n equal 5. If we try k equal 5, which means we will use 5 classes, then 2 to the power of 5 equal 32, somewhat less than 50. Hence, 5 is not enough classes. If we let k equal 6, 2 to the power of 6 equals 64, which is greater than 50. So the recommended number classes is 6. Next, step 2, that is determine the class interval or width. And the given formula is class width is equal to max entry minus min entry and divide by number of classes. Here example of numbers, 308.4 minus 230.4 and divide by 6. And you will get 78 and divide by 6 again, so the final answer is 13. Go to step 3, set the individual class limits. Step 4, make a tally mark for each data entry in the appropriate class. And the last step is step 5. The number of tally mark for a class is the frequency for that class. Let's look at the next slide. This slide is part of the relative frequency and cumulative frequency distribution. So, for relative frequency, the relative frequency is the portion or percentage of the data that falls in that class. And next, to find the relative frequency of a class, divide the frequency small f by the sample size small n. Then, you will get the answer for relative frequency distribution. Below this is the cumulative frequency. The cumulative frequency of a class is the sum of the frequency for the class and all previous classes. Then, the formula is the cumulative frequency of the last class is equal to the sample size n. I guess that's all from me for part A is explained to you. I hope you understand on this part. Now, we will go to the next part A.
Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum. My name is UMMAIRAH binti Muhammad RAFEE. My metric number is H2OB1594. So let's go through to this part, which is graphical methods. And the instruction is we have to develop a suitable graphical method to represent the data using graph. So in this part, I have prepared two different graphs, which is frequency polygon and ogive. So here are the same table as the previous part, but for using the frequency polygons, we have to add another class on the top and at the end of the class. As you can see in the slide, this is the frequency polygon graph, and the horizontal scales is the midpoint of data, and the vertical scales is the frequency of class. The next part is we are using ogive graph, and because of that we have to edit upper boundaries and cumulative frequency in the data. But how to find cumulative frequency? In the slide we shows that when 0 from cumulative frequency plus 4 in the frequency equal to 4, and 4 plus 6 at the frequency will get 10, and repeat the step until the last class. So this is the ogive graph. As you can see, the horizontal scales is upper class boundaries and the vertical scales is cumulative frequency. Notice that the graph starts at 229.9 where the cumulative frequency is 0, and the graph ends at 332.9 when the cumulative frequency is 50. And as you can see, the graph is increased, and that's the style of ogive. So that's all from me. Let's go to the next part.
Okay, I am SITI Nazifah Anisa binti NASIR, and my metric number is H2A1778. And now I will explain about the answer for the question. Find and explain the value, measures of central tendency, measure of variation, and measure of position. Hence, determine the shape of data distribution. First of all, meaning of measure of central tendency is a value that represents the center of distribution. The three most commonly used to measure of tendency for ungrouped and grouped data are mean, median, and mode. Next, mean is the sum of a data entries divided by the number of entries. Okay, the formula for mean is given above the table. The table of mean, we should have the class, midpoint, frequency, and fx. Okay, so where we can get the fx? So basically fx is the midpoint multiplied by the frequency. Okay, to find the midpoint, we have to add the upper boundaries and the lower boundaries divided by 2, and then we can get the midpoint. Okay, after we calculate the data using the formula, we will get the mean price of the bungalow for given size was approximately RM276030. Okay, next, the median, the value that lies in the middle of the data when the data set is ordered. Okay, so the formula is the right side, and then for the median class for this table is 269.4 until 281.3. Okay, the lower class boundaries is 268.9. The class width is 12.6 by minus for the number. After we'll calculate the median using the formula, we will get 278.111. 50% of the price of bungalow for given size less than RM278111, and the others 50% more than RM278111. Okay, so next, the mode is the data entry that occurs with the greatest frequency. Okay, so the formula is given above the table. So mode, we have class and frequency only. So the model class is 295.3 until 308.4. The lowest boundary is 294.8, and the class size is 294.8 minus 308.9 equal to 30. Okay, after we calculate using the formula, we will get the highest price of bungalow with given size is RM297240. Okay, next is the measure of variation. Some parameters attempt to describe the amount of variation between random variables. Measure of variation also have their own formula, which is given under the table. After we calculate using the formula, we will get 461.301. Then we have to find the single as 21.48. So therefore, the sample variance is about 461301 and the sample standard deviation is about RM21 and 0.8. Okay, lastly is the measure of position. To determine the measure of position, the data must be sorted from lowest to highest. The table of measure of position, we should have the class, frequency and cumulative frequency. Okay, so the quartile 1 is 12.5, the quartile 3 is 27.5, the N 50, the Q1 is 242.9 and the frequency is 4. For the FQ1 is 6 and the class width is 13. So after we calculate using the formula, we will get the quartile 1 is 261,132. So to find the quartile 3, we use the formula given and then we have the answer is 295.45. Interquartile range, quartile 3 minus quartile 1 and then we get the 24.30. So of data distribution, the mean we get RM206030 and the median is RM278111. The mode is 297240. Okay, so the mean is smaller than median and median is smaller from mode. That's all from my part. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. I'm HANNANI binti ABDUL. My metric number is H20A1341. So now I want to show the data I create where it need to find one data set that has one independent variable and one dependent variable. This data show machine learning between years of experience and salary of. We would like to review the relevant salary based on years of experience. Many years of experience is X, which is independent, Y, salary is Y, which is dependent. This data is secondary data. After completing the data, it is necessary to find a sample in the existing data. Well, the next one can be chosen at random and is not more than 100, but N must be at least 30. For example, N equal 35. So the sample on our data is 30. Start with 39,343 to 121,872. So N is N equal 30.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nursalihah binti Hassan. My metric number is H20A1347. I will continue the presentation, which I will explain how to calculate person product moment correlation coefficient. Before that, let us know what is person product correlation. This technique, named after Carl Person, a statistician, is used to measure the strength or relationship between two variables that are quantitative in nature. As you can see on the slide, I provide for you the formula how to calculate it. The formula is summation xy minus summation x and y. Then you have to divide with the n, the data. After that, you have to square root summation of x squared 2 minus summation x with square 2 and divide it by total of data, as well as for summation y. Then you can get the final answer. For our data, the final answer between x and y, which is x is year of experience and y is salary, the answer is 978. In addition, you need to determine the correlation strength, and for our data, that is very strong positive correlation at 0.978 between x and y. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul. My metric number is H20A1646. The last part is simple linear regression. Simple linear regression is a statistical method you can use to quantify the relationship between X independent variable and Y is dependent variable. Okay, this is a formula that we use to calculate B0 plus B1 and place that in the estimate linear regression equation. We use the formula and starting to collect the data from dataset and calculate manually. After that, the answer for B1 is 9449.96, and the answer for B0 is negative 273.95. Okay, after calculate, we follow back the formula y equal B0 plus B1x. Then put the answer. B0 is population y-intercept when year experience is 0. The predicted salary is negative 273.95, and for B1 is a slope of the population regression line. A 1 year experience in salary is associated with the 9449.96.